Welcome back to part 11 of the Frogger mini-series, and in this video we'll be creating the river portion of this project. To accomplish this, we can leverage the water plugin that we added in the previous video. Let's not waste any time and just jump right into it. Okay, one thing we forgot to do in the last video is of course save our level. So you want to do File, Save All, and then I'm calling this one our main menu or main level, whatever name you want to give it. But now let's go ahead and add the river. So we'll add the river to the back half of this little level. So we can go to the Add menu, search for water, and we'll do Water Body River. We'll click on that, and what we'll do is we'll reset the world position, so it kind of zeroes it out. And then we can drag and kind of move it around, and it works with the landscape and kind of deforms it automatically. Which is very handy. What we can do to make it easier is we'll delete the end spline points. So you just click the little squares and then hit delete, and that kind of gets rid of them there. And then we can drag this over here, and I'm just gonna do my best to kind of position it near the edge of the ocean. So maybe right about there. And then what you can do is just hold the Alt key and then click in your Y direction to pull off, and it'll automatically add a spline point and then begin to build the river out. I'm going to click back on this little square and maybe push it out a little bit further, just so the water kind of ebbs out. Now the water is going in the wrong direction, but we will fix that in a sec here. So we can just click here and just push this out all the way over here. That way we have a basic straight little river. So maybe right about there. It kind of bleeds out nicely. To fix the direction of the river, because in the classic arcade Frogger, the objects are going right to left. So you can see the water is kind of flowing the opposite direction. So if we move the objects from right to left, it's going to be going against the current, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. So what we can do is just select one of the endpoints, and then in the details panel under selected points there is a water option. You can expand that out and you can access different settings like depth, the width, velocity, and audio intensity. If we just set the velocity to a negative value, so like maybe negative 256, that way the water's flowing the opposite direction. Now it is a spline point, so as we come over here, it's going to blend with this other point, which is going the other way. So we'll want to click over here and add that to a negative value as well. And that looks pretty good. Now, if we want to move the river a little bit closer, we can select the Water Body River instance in the top of the details panel here. And then we can kind of shimmy it over. Got to be careful with the landscape because it will deform the closer you move towards it. You can see it's kind of pushing it up here. There's a few things we can do to try to offset that. The easiest being is just drag the river down, and that'll help with that. But there's also your fall off width that you can adjust, and your edge offset that can help with that as well. But it looks like that's not too bad. I'm actually okay with the way that looks. We'll go over here. The player's not gonna be able to see past this spot anyway, so this one won't matter too much, because we're gonna lock the camera basically top down from like right here. The river is a bit small though, so what we can do is we will grab this little edge point. River width is 2048, so we can just say multiply by 2 to double the width. Kind of looks like that. And now we are a little bit too close to the sidewalk, so we'll fix that in a second. If we select this point, we'll double the width here. That looks good. And then we'll select the Water Body River instance, so we get the complete object, and then we'll just push it back. So we have a little bit of grass before we lead into the body of the river. I think that looks pretty good. Now the water is a bit shallow, so what we can do is we'll click on one of the points. We had a river depth. Let's just multiply that by 3. And then we'll want to do the same for our second point. This spline only has 2 points to make it easy. So we'll multiply that by 3. And you can kind of set whatever you want. And you can have variances too if you want, like be shallow in one end and deeper at another end. Kind of whatever you're going for your project. The water plugin is pretty versatile. You can do a lot with it. Yeah, so then I'll move this out a bit as well. And you can see that carves that channel pretty easily. Same thing with over here. If you wanted to get rid of this hard edge, just push it out and it'll kind of just carve it out in the landscape for you. So it works pretty good. Alright, but I think this will give us enough room to add in our logs and our turtles and whatever else we're going to add for this prototype. Alright, good people, I think we'll cut the video here, but in the next one we'll set up the vehicle obstacles for the player to avoid. As always, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.